Still have to figure it out.
Want this here so you can click back and forth, or I can just,
Or 2 days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
you can just, whatever you want.
Can we move it over a little?
Over this way?
Yeah.
Yeah. That one?
Would be better.
Yeah. It's recording and I'm
Clicking.
I know,
Easier to see it.
You can look at it.
Yeah.
Do you need a thingy?
No, I have
You
already.
need one?
Okay.
There's
Is the waiting room on?
It's off. People can just come in, it's recording, if you know, for the book that's anybody else. Perfect. Okay, too. Oh, and I meant to move the microphone as well.
If we're not saving trees, I would.
Oh, yeah, could you see those?
It's nice to physically have have it in your hand than to have it online, though. I know a lot of people still like to have like a physical book. So, good morning, everybody. How are you? Good. So this morning, you're going to have myself and Laura Lee as instructors. I think on the schedule you had Maggie and Anne, who are both sick. So, I know. So Laura Lee is coming. She'll be here shortly. So has anyone taken Ignite before? Maureen? Yeah, you took it last year. Anybody online taken it before?
No,
I see.
I did it in the winter time, Melissa.
Hey, James?
Yeah, I did it. I think it was February that it ran last time. I did it. I was doing the in-person then. I'm gonna do it on Zoom.
Perfect. And what's bringing you back?
I really enjoyed the training. I thought I remember thinking through all the courses that it was kind of the training that I had been waiting for.
Yeah.
So I got a lot out of it, and now that I had a bit of a lull during the summer, just with everything going on socially, I thought that this would be a really good way to kind of get me to refocus on real estate and kind of refresh everything that I learned. So
Yeah, great. Exactly. That's exactly what Ignite is good for. It's a good reset if you've already taken it to get you back in the habits. Yeah. Maureen?
The same.
Same.
I think it's just always good. Sometimes it takes a couple months to get it drilled into your head.
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, good refresher, an opportunity to.
Yeah. So for those who are new, if you are able to come into the classroom, I know not everyone's located locally, so that makes Zoom easier, and that's great. If you are able to come in, it's meant to be an interactive course, so there's a lot of collaboration, and the more that you collaborate and we make it like a two-way thing and a group, and there's group activities and things like that, you'll find you get a lot more out of it that way. And some of the questions that'll come up from other people in the course. And if you are on Zoom, if you're in a place where it's safe, obviously, to unmute yourself, please be careful if you're driving somewhere. To please, unmute yourself and participate. And if you can have cameras on, that would be appreciated as well. It makes it a lot easier for everyone, especially in the room, to also, communicate with everybody. I know not everyone necessarily knows each other. Can we take a quick few minutes just to say who you are and where you work out of? And
Okay, I'll start. My name is Jane Threlfall. I'm up in Truro, and I just joined Keller Williams in July. Got my license just before that, so hoping to get some good tips on how to get some clients. I guess it's been a struggle for me. I'm trying little stuff that I can, and I've been working with Maggie, who is fantastic. But just trying to get my foot in the door, I guess, so to speak, and try and make a living out of this.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jane. Maureen was talking, but she's so quiet, you couldn't hear her. And the mic's in the middle of the room. So if you missed it, Maureen Sangster is over here. She's off camera, you can't see her. She works out of the HRM area. Right.
Susan McFarland. I've actually been in real estate for a while, but I'm just trying to get back into it again as well. So this is a great start for the two of us, basically.
Perfect.
Bill, working here in HRM and year end, but this is perfect for me. Kickstart.
Yep. Awesome.
My name is Mark. I'm from the same vintage as Jane and Suzette. All did the course together with Chad. Yeah, and Jason just logged on. I'm just getting started too, so it's been a couple of months, still trying to get my bearings, and amazingly, like I have like quite a bit of business. Like I don't feel ready for it, so I'm kind of just putting stuff together as it comes up.
Yeah.
Anyway, I feel like you need to do these things, so happy to jump in. I'll probably do it a few times, like Green and the others.
Yeah.
But I think you always pick up new stuff every time you do it, and you had a little bit more perspective.
Yep. And Mark, you work primarily on the South Shore?
I do, yes.
Yeah.
in the Lunenburg area.
Okay.
Love to drink. Well, I think that's how I like to start my morning.
That or want to jump in and introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm having a bit of technical difficulties. I may have to leave and come back in. I'm not sure if you can hear me or not.
We can hear you.
Okay, great. I'm Suzette. I actually, as Mark has just said, hi Mark and Jason and Jane.
Hey.
I am on the South Shore as well. I basically cover pretty much the western arm, I guess you could say. I'm not amenable to going to Yarmouth or Shelburne or even up to Digby recently and Kentville. So primarily it's Shelburne, but if clients need it, then I provide it for the most part so far. But I am a new agent since end of April and loving it so far. It's provided me with some very, very unique learning opportunities, and I've been enjoying the ride.
Jason, are you able to unmute? Hi.
Hello.
Hi. And what area are you working out of, Jason?
I'm working between Yarmouth and Digby, but I do have clients going to Kentville, so I am helping them find a house in Kentville.
Perfect. So for those of you who are not new, we often have in our closed Facebook group, Digby continues to come up. It's one of the places that everyone's looking to send referrals. I don't know why everyone's going or coming from Digby, but got Jason who's in that area, and Suzette, you said you will go to that area as well. So there's two agents right there. So thank you, Jason, that's great. And we had Aaliyah, you popped in. Can you introduce yourself?
Yes. I'll work with my dad.
And when did you get your license?
Yes, now.
Yeah. And Colton and Kelly, you guys popped in too. Hi.
Hey, my name's Colton. I've had a license for probably a year and a half now, so still considered new, I guess, but love it.
Kelly, I just joined Keller Williams like last week. So
What?
Had it for about the same time as Kim, like a year and a half now.
Awesome.
I've been doing this for license for about a year and a half now. And it just, I really liked Ignite last time, so I wanted to pop in and try and get motivated.
Awesome. Thank you. It's so nice to have so many of you. Anybody else online? James, Allison, are you gonna say hello? If you're in a place you could safely do that.
Hi guys, it's Allison. How are you? It's Allison Gatto, but my new name is McPherson. So I am licensed 22 years. So yeah, hi, I'm here.
I call her Allie, so she's
Yeah.
Allison, but
You can call me Allie too. That's good. I like that name. And I'm on the Murphy team, just so you all know, for all the new people, and welcome.
Bruce, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Yeah, hi, James Langell. I'm in my first year of real estate as well. Really enjoying it. I did Ignite in the winter and got a lot out of it, so I'm back. So everybody who is doing it for the first time and a new agent, I think you'll get a lot out of it. And I'm based out of the Bedford office as well.
Awesome. I think everybody knows me and Lurley.
And I'm sorry for being late. We're not supposed to be
Yeah,
this morning.
Dylan today.
And I was thinking, Anne's gonna be there, wrong Anne. It was like, so.
So welcome everybody. Thank you for coming. For those who this is your first Ignite, and for the many of you who are here to do it again, that's fantastic. Ignite is a great course. As we go through it, you'll see we into the nuts and bolts of all of the different elements of real estate. It's just a great reboot if you have kind of got stuck in a lull or need a refresher. So
It's basically the same as Bold, which is another thing that you'll see coming up all the time. Bold is a little bit like Night on steroids. So this is sort of ABCs, which really is nice to get started with.
So you'll see the Ignite schedule. So typically it runs Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You'll see in the schedule, and that's why Aaron, this lovely graphic to help everybody keep on track. There's a few weeks where we've switched to a Tuesday because of training things on the Monday. And you'll see that the week of the 23rd and 27th, we took that week off completely because we have the training event in Moncton. So for those who may not be aware, we have a KW Canada regional training event happening in Moncton. So Jeff Glover, who is a incredible team lead, he runs a team out of Michigan, one of the top teams in all of Keller Williams. His team has taken over 1,000 listings. They're very listing focused. He runs a coaching business as well. He's fantastic. If you get a chance, you can hear him on the Millionaire Real Estate Agent podcast with Jason Abrams. He talks about his listing process. And obviously, you know, we've got a full day of Jeff in Moncton, so he's going to be sharing, you know, many more ins and outs of their listing business. And I think he does plan to touch a little bit on the buyer side as well. And then we also have Diana Kokoska. So for anybody who's taken Bold, which as Lurley mentioned, it's like the Ignite on steroids. It's a very, very intense course, but the agents that we have had take Bold have said it's life-changing. It's one of those things, it's about mindset and getting you into the right habits, which you're going to see in Ignite as well. Diana Kokoska was the founder of Bold. She created it when the US had their first market shift, when the crash of 2008 happened. And the idea was to help our agents navigate a shift and come out of the shift as the most successful in their market areas. So Bold was founded off of her own personal real estate experience and her real estate journals throughout the years. So Diana is really a visionary in the real estate industry. She's founded Keller Williams MAPS Coaching, which is the coaching division of Keller Williams, and is responsible for sort of building that whole thing. So she is the second trainer that we have coming into Moncton on the second day. So if you are considering going and you're not registered, highly recommend going. It's very rare that we get trainers of this caliber to the East Coast. This is something that three market centers off New Brunswick and Newfoundland have partnered on with the help of the Canadian regional leadership to bring this kind of caliber trainer here locally, where we don't all have to jump on a plane and go to family reunion or mega camp and, you know, spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to travel to get this kind of training. So I highly, highly recommend that you're not registered, please. You get one
Any
piece
that
of
was-
advice out of it, and it's going to pay for itself.
Yeah, it
Over and over.
probably will pay for itself over and over and over
Mm.
again. People that seen Jason Abrams last year, it's the first year it was in Halifax. And second year is in Moncton, third year is going to be in Newfoundland. These are trainers that normally go to type regions. Getting people to come to Canada, especially in the wintertime, is hilarious. And these ones are like the top level. I took what was supposed to be Diana's last train the presenter in Toronto. And I would say out of all the instructors I've seen, she's probably one of the best instructors I've ever seen. And it was incredible. So the fact that she's 2 hours away is absolutely beautiful. And a lot of people are carpooling and doing all kinds of stuff. So, you know, just try to get registered for that if you can. There's no way it will not be worth your time and your investment into it.
Yeah, and for those who came to the Halifax event last year, we did have a networking kind of event in between the two sessions. That is happening in New Brunswick as well. We're just waiting for the details from the New Brunswick Market Center, but there will be a networking event between Jeff's session and afterwards, because Jeff is first day and Diana's the second. So it's a great opportunity to leverage, you know, the opportunity to meet someone in person that you can then send referrals back and forth with, because we have a lot of movement across our 4 Atlantic provinces.
It's amazing how they move back and forth. I do know the people from PEI are thrilled that it's going to be New Brunswick, because obviously you can network for PEI as well. And that's a big thing for them. I even have a PEI agent coming down to network, and you'll see in this course how important networking is. Just think if you can just start getting leads from other people that say, here, person's coming to Nova Scotia, you know, would you please work with them? It's a nice deal when you know that, oh, okay, someone just handed me that right in my hand. So that's something that at these type of events really work well. Wayne, who is in PEI, he's our broker over there, is actually coming to the golf tournament on Thursday. And I never thought of it before, and we laugh because I always bring someone from around here, but it's ideal because he's going to meet every Nova Scotia agent that plays golf. So things like that really start adding.
All right, so Ignite. So we're going to cover the first 2 sessions today. So you'll see the flow through is real estate expert, lead generation, lead follow-up, which leads to transaction. So that's sort of the flow through that you're going to see throughout the course. And sorry. So we're on the real estate expert stage right now. So we're going to talk about sparking your career and embracing your job today. And then connecting with your market and defining your value will be the next session.
And anyone that sat with Chad before your exam, he does know your value. So you know what this comes out like next week. Oh no, Wednesday.
Yeah. So the quote on the screen, anyone can do it. Not everyone will you? That's a quote by Gary Keller, who is the founder of Keller Williams, and co-author of, obviously that comes from The Millionaire Real Estate Investor. He also wrote The Millionaire Real Estate Agent, the Shift book. So a lot of people think that there needs to be, you know, some sort of magic secret sauce to being successful in real estate, but it's all about, there are specific paths and things that you need to do primarily, and you're going to hear this over and over as we go through Ignite, lead generation. So we'll talk about lead generation a lot, and when we say lead gen, we mean lead generation. So this is, you know, what Gary is getting at is the importance of actually doing it.
It's the ABCs. Like this is not rocket science. And you will find, you'll meet agents who you don't think can actually get up their shoes in the morning. But they're making $500,000 a year in real estate. Why? Excuse me, because they have their systems in place. They do what you need to do. Gary Keller basically comes out and says, we know what we've done it all, and we've made all the mistakes humanly possible. Go back and do them again. Just do it this way. It works. A, B, and C will bring you that, like, you will be able to do whatever you want to do in real estate by following the systems.
All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is the 6 personal perspectives. This was a foundational way of thinking that Gary brought into the company many years ago, because a lot of people were saying, what does it take to be successful in real estate? What are the main principles that we need to have and that we should be looking for and working on as agents? So the 6 personal perspectives is actually a course in of itself. I teach it. It's recorded. I've taught it a few times, so it is on our YouTube channel. If you want to watch some of the previous ones, we'll have it on the calendar again. We usually run it.
I seen it on the calendar, so it's there already.
Yeah, we usually run it,
October.
once or every quarter,
Yeah.
typically. So we dive more into these concepts in more detail in the course itself, but we'll give you an overview today. So the 6 personal perspectives, the first one is commit to self-mastery, commit to the 80-20 principle, move from E to P, make being learning-based the foundation of your action plan, remove your limiting beliefs, and be accountable. So the first one is commit to self-mastery, which is pretty straightforward. It's about knowing your goals, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, knowing how to work both with your strengths and your weaknesses to seek and master the necessary knowledge, skills, and habits to reach your goal. So throughout Ignite, you're going to be acquiring the skills and developing habits to be successful. So that will help you move towards self-mastery, right? Self-mastery is about perfecting your skills. And, a lot of you are already starting on that journey by just being here in Ignite today.
Everything you're doing now, I know most are new and everything seems way, way over the top. And you're sort of looking at it like, how am I ever going to master everything? And you will. Like a year from now, a year and a half from now, when you really start on this journey, you're going to say, oh, I'm going to a listing appointment and I'm not even sweating. So this is something that doing this and getting into education and sitting and practicing. I think it's good to have, like, you guys have a group, have an accountability group and do some role playing and different things like that. Everyone can get together and help each other master everything you're going to be doing. And I do promise there's going to be days that you're not going to be shaking going to that listing appointment or showing that house. It's like, okay, I'm not sure if I've ever seen this area or this type of house. You'll get to the point where you've mastered every piece of it. So you get up in the morning, it's like, okay, what do I do today? Or, hey, I don't have enough on my schedule today. Let's try to get a few more appointments in. So, yeah, it will change. But I know that feeling you've got right now. And I bet everyone has it. Who has it? Rena probably doesn't have it. You've mastered a lot.
In different levels. Hey, what do I do now? Wow. Courses are always really good though to get you back on track.
Exactly.
And they always work to inspire me and motivate me. So that's why I keep looking over the years.
And KW has massive amounts of training, as you can see. I would strongly suggest a little notebook. I have a notebook that when I seen it, I laughed. It was like great ideas. And basically when I get one of those ideas, especially something like family reunion, where you've got 5 days, you've got books of notes. So I write them down. And when I get back, it's like, okay, yeah, that was a great idea. I'm going to do that today. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to do this. So write down those really cool ideas that you actually have. And stars beside them. Because often you come back, like we've done it. We come back from something with all these fantastic ideas and then we sort of don't put them into play. Well, make sure even during this, when you have something that's going to fit your business really well, write it down and say, okay, I'd like to try this. Don't try everything tomorrow. And don't try everything right as soon as you leave type thing, because it's going to be a little too much. But make sure you have those things in your plan to move forward. Gives you the ideas. Or those days that you're thinking, what do I do today? I don't have any business. I'm not sure what I want to do. You go to your little book and open it up and say, oh, that was cool. Yes, I'm going to try that.
Thanks for that segue, because you segued right into the next one.
I do this all the
I know.
time. Get ready for the last course. Sorry.
Which is the 80-20 rule. And so what Lauralee is, what's brilliantly kind of segueing us into is focus on your 20%. And you'll hear that a lot. It's for those of you who might be familiar with it, it's the Pareto principle. Yes, sorry, they're right in the box here. Sorry, Colby.
Does everyone else have one? A lot of paper.
I know. Yeah, no, they're very thick. This is the Pareto principle. So it's focusing on your 20%. So 20% of your actions are going to lead to 80% of your results. So you'll hear this repeated a lot in a lot of Keller Williams training. And that's precisely the reason why Lauralee was focusing on it. And it's about focusing on the 20% of activities that are going to bring you 80% of your results. So don't get lost in all of the extra kind of distractions. Focus on what really matters and what's going to bring you the business, which in real estate is your 20% is lead generation. So focusing on those activities that is going to bring you business, spending, hours and hours and hours and hours and hours, designing some sort of beautiful flyer, isn't necessarily the thing that's going to bring you the business versus, getting yourself out there in maybe an open house or a buyer seminar or, all of those kinds of activities. Door knocking. We've got some agents who thrive on door knocking.
You got one back there and he's doing super well with it.
But that puts you, those are active lead generation activities. Not that a flyer isn't necessarily going to help you, but spending hours and hours and hours on it is not putting that in your 20%. It's your 80%.
Yeah, and that 20% are your big rocks. Think about a jar, and you want to put all this sand and all these rocks into the jar. Well, I'm telling you, if you put all the sand in first, you're not going to get your rocks in, right? So you put your big rocks in first, and then you pour in all the sand. The weirdest thing with this is, and it comes up all the time, and I get these, oh my God, again, but it comes up in real estate constantly. Like 20% of the people make 80% of the money. What are those 20% doing? Doing their 20%. People that educate themselves and go to a lot of training with the people that are in that 20% range. And they are moving their business, or they're not working at real estate as a job, working it as their new business. And you'll see over the time that KW will teach you how to make that massive business. Not just, I'm going to hit a plateau. That's where we're going to stop. KW will take you over every plateau you can do, but each one has an 80%, 20-80% rule.
So that leads us right into the next one, which is moving from E to P.
Another segue.
I know.
Yeah.
You can tell we may have done this before, right?
I've never done the first one. I do the last. No, I haven't. I had never done the first one. I always do the last one.
Here's bookends this time.
Exactly.
So moving from E to P, this is the entrepreneurial approach versus the purposeful approach. So when we talk about E to P, what we're talking about is how you have a natural ceiling of achievement. And when you're moving in more of an entrepreneurial fashion, you hit that ceiling of achievement and you don't go any farther. You don't want to be uncomfortable. And we talk a lot about the getting comfortable being uncomfortable. And a lot of people kind of go, oh, I don't want to do that. That makes me uncomfortable. Often to get to that next level, to break through the ceiling of achievement, you have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And a lot of that, it's about being purposeful so that you can purposely break through that ceiling. So you'll hear a lot of talk about systems and models in Keller Williams. We're very much a company based on systems and models. And you'll see that the purposeful approach is about following those models and systems to take your business to the next level, whatever that is for you. So what my goal is might be different than Suzanne's, Maureen's, Mark's, right? So it's about what is for you. Everyone has a different natural ceiling of achievement. And so when you're following those systems and models and doing those activities, helps you get to that.
And that next level is your business. And basically, when you have that running and the right systems and the right models running, you can take this anywhere you want to take it. There are natural ceilings, and I can see it on one of the systems I use. And the first system, the first sort of hit is at about $120,000. And if you only knew how many people in Nova Scotia are stuck at that ceiling, and they're never, I'm talking agents who have been in the business for 25 years and they hit that ceiling and they stay there. Some people are happy there, and you may be happy there. We have the ability to take you over that ceiling and bring you to wherever you want to go. I'll be very honest with you, Chad and I had a ceiling, and for years and years, it was fine. Had enough money and everything, but it's when you get to there, you realize I've been here forever. Let's take it to the next level.
And some agents, as you get more familiar with the business, sometimes it's an achievement or an award level too that's tied to that income level. So you set a goal for yourself that you want to make, I want to be a gold producer this year, or I want to be a silver producer this year. So sometimes it's about making that next category too.
It may be vacationing more.
Yeah. So
it could be whatever you want it to be, but what I'm saying is it's not going to stick you. This isn't where you're stuck. You can move to the next level, and it's relatively easy to actually figure that out. And we have training for all of those levels, which is fabulous. I had some faces go when we mentioned one of the lead genning is door knocking. Okay, and I had everyone, and I probably made the same face because you probably would have seen it. There are 19 ways to lead gen in real estate. Okay.
Don't worry, you don't have to door knock if that's not what you like.
When I got here, honestly, I had a door knocking, and I was ready to quit. To be honest with you, I used to go up to a door only that didn't have cars in the driveway, be laughing his ass off, and knock on the door. Like, please don't be here. And then I realized this is ridiculous, right? But when I got here, it was like, figure out 3 really good lead gen systems for you. You only have to do 3 things. You have to know how to do it, you have to like doing it, and you have to be good at it. So that whole thing that you have to do this, or you have to do that, you have to do this. No, you create your business, right? My door knocking coach, Karina, you probably had her too. He was funny. She did get me out of my comfort zone, sure, but we figured out how I could door knock for my business. Because me door knocking and praying no one's there is not going to bring
Not necessarily a successful
it's not going to be all that great. And her coach, the script was, "Hi, I'm Laura Lee from," I'll say KW. "When are you moving?" I thought, if someone comes to my door and says that, I'm going to slam the door. It's like, I cannot do that. And if you would have seen it, it was funny. Like Chad would do about the same amount of doors, and he would have talked to like 15, 20 people. I've been in the car for almost an hour and doing things on my phone. And it was like, okay, this is ridiculous. It's not going to work. But she made me think outside the box. So, and they still do it. I don't know if anyone, James, I think you've done them. But we do VIP open houses. And I could walk 25 doors in each direction of a new listing and hand out an invitation to a VIP, the open house. Yeah. And not only was that getting people at the open house, which made our sellers really happy, it also showed all the neighbors what we were doing as a team and our value. So for me, never happier walking Hi, I list the house down the street. Here's an invitation. Would you would you like to come down for some wine and cheese and see the house? Maybe you have a friend or a family member that wants to get into this beautiful neighborhood. You know what that also did? It's listings. Because they thought, my agent doesn't walk down and invite me anywhere, right? So you'll be able to morph your business to what works for you.
Yeah. And you'll see that when we get into Ignite further into the session that specifically about lead gen and all of the different types of lead gen.
It is very.
The next one is make being learning based the foundation of your action plan. So it's just about the fact that a learning based individual appreciates learning for their own improvement, know what they know, and they know there's always more to know. An individual who does not appreciate learning is what's referred to as ignorance based. They know what they know and they ignore everything else. I'm sure you've encountered people like that. So learning-based individuals have made the decision to use effective learning as the foundation piece for their action plan to develop their life, and training and education is a big part of that. And you're making that choice by being part of Ignite, right? Being learning-based. And you'll find often you'll see that agents that have the most success in the business are learning-based, because the industry is always ever evolving. It doesn't stay the same. You know, the basics are the same. The basics about lead gen stay the same. The industry evolves over time. And so being learning based allows you to adapt and modify your systems if necessary as it changes over time. Right? And if you're following the news in the States, our American colleagues are having to adapt drastically right now because of their changes with how commissions are displayed on their MLS and how their closures are done for commissions. So just to reiterate to everyone here, that does not apply in Canada.
And we're doing most of the stuff.
A lot of the things that have come into effect in the States are already in place here. We have a competition tribunal. That was why mere postings were allowed on the MLS years ago. Does everyone know what a mere posting is? Anyone know? No? Okay, so mere posting is essentially a for sale by owner.
Oh, yeah.
That is allowed to be posted on the MLS. So often you'll see on the cooperating commission on the bottom, it says $1. And they've, you know, it's typically a seller on their own representing themselves, but they've been allowed to put their house on MLS. So typically you'll negotiate directly with the seller. They have no brokerage representative. So in doing that, if you've never done one before, I'm going to put my broker hat on for a minute. If you've never done a mere posting and you're going to offer on one, please call the broker line. There's a whole other step of paperwork you have to do to sign the seller into a customer status fee agreement to ensure you're going to get paid. Don't want to work for free. So make sure you call us. We'll walk you through the steps and all of the paperwork that you need to do that. But essentially, my point in this using mere postings as an example, that wasn't something that was happening in the States. They didn't allow mere postings. So we had that 10 years ago,
At least.
it was. So, you know, that was the competition tribunal came through in Canada and said we had to allow for sale by owners on our MLS. Our MLS was deemed a monopoly. So, well, at that time, very much agents sometimes, you know, kind of go, right? And that's what some agents are doing in the States right now. Now the Keller Williams agents, Keller has put out a lot of training, the Value Squared course, which Gary Keller and Jason Abrams put on. It's recorded on KW Connect. If you haven't watched it, just because that stuff isn't happening here, the information on the content is still very useful. It was one of the best courses I think that KW has ever put on. And it's all about demonstrating your value to the client. And that's a lot of what's being talked about in the States right now, because they haven't had to sign buyer representation agreements.
They haven't had to explain.
They haven't had to explain agency, explain what they're being paid, all of that. So that's why you're hearing a lot about it in the news from stateside. We were already doing that here. It's old news to us. We've been doing that for years, right? So it's not it's not going to have the same effect on the Canadian real estate market as US market because we've been doing it.
Provinces, maybe.
Some
Or
provinces, yes.
province, every province has a different way of doing real estate. So
Yeah.
some of them are gonna be learning a lot. Honestly, we're one of the most compliant,
We
so
are.
we don't have a lot of changes coming down which is good.
Yeah.
I seen some eyes go, oh, mirror listings, and I see that all the time with agents. It's like, oh God, yeah, I'm not gonna show that house because it's a mirror listing. Go the opposite side of that. Think about who you're negotiating against. You're negotiating against the seller. You're not even up against another agent. So you're going to be going in there as a representative for the buyer, helping the seller, telling him what he should be doing. So this is nothing
For your buyer.
for your buyer. Like you're negotiating against someone that has zero training. So think about how easy those transactions can be, because we don't really know about before you got into real estate, how much you knew about real estate to be able to sell your own house. And that's what they're doing. And people make whole businesses out of dealing with FSBOs, which is for sale by owner, which is a mirror listing. So you know those people, like that was one of the things people said, hate talking to FSBOs. I love talking to FSBOs because they are just sponges that want to know everything you know, move you forward. But what happens when they can't sell their house? We're the one that helped them. And you were the one that they know has all kinds of education, and you know your job really, really well. So don't shy away from that. Some of my easiest and best deals was working with a mirror listing. But you get another client on the other side, they're selling their house
Mhm.
and they're probably buying one and they ain't buying it by themselves. So you're in there.
The next one is unlimiting beliefs. So when you unlimit your thinking, you unlimit your success. So limiting beliefs often have a negative impact on your mindset. So that's why we call them limiting beliefs. So a few examples: have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business. I'm not valid yet. I don't know how I can achieve a profit goal that will fund my life this year. Don't feel comfortable talking to people about real estate. Business will come to me naturally. I don't need to lead generate. So those are some examples of limiting beliefs. And the idea is that in order to be successful, you have to clear your mind and work on overcoming those limiting beliefs. So a lot of the times we'll talk about reframing your limiting beliefs. So I have to be an expert and know everything before I can begin my business. I'm not valid yet. 2, I am eager and confident to start my business now and learn along the way. Okay? So it's all about mindset and shifting how you're looking at things, and not letting those limiting beliefs overcome your ability to progress and move forward.
Best feeling you're going to have, so everyone here has said, oh my God, I'm scared to death to do this first listing appointment. Most amazing feeling is when you finish that listing appointment. And it's like, okay, it was a lot better than I would have ever expected. So just go and do it. Keep training, obviously, to get your value proposition way up here. Nobody starts with a value proposition up here. And if you wait till you're up here, you're going to have a long time, because even people that have been in the business 30 years, and you'll see with Moncton, wait till you see the people that show up to Moncton. People that you would think, oh my God, they've been doing this forever, and they know their stuff perfectly. They're sitting there just to bring their value proposition to the next level.
One of my favorite quotes is progress, perfection. So being careful not to get stuck in that I have to have everything perfect mindset before I can move forward, right? You can be perfecting things as you're going, and quite honestly, and Laureline, I can tell you, you're never going to have everything 100% perfect. Just not going to happen. You can get close, and you can get some elements that might be perfect, but the whole overall thing is very unlikely it's going to be perfect. So real estate is all about progressing, growing, and learning, and being open. that.
One of the things KW says all the time is if you're not growing, you're retracting. And I can tell you in real estate, that's definitely because you will see, if you've seen the way we did real estate what, 5 years ago versus the way we're doing it now. If you didn't grow and learn all those new things that are coming out, you were going to be left behind. And I know because if I looked at my class, did actually, yeah. A lot of them are not in the business. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. And it also gives you a little bit more, energy to keep going. Oh, that's very, very cool. I'm one of those people, like, I'm sure if you took the course with Chad, you probably heard, oh, Laura could take a week to make a really beautiful flyer. I was that. I have no doubts. It's like, put the flyer out, Laura. It's like, okay, it looks fine. Same with, he's the doer. Like I get stuck with that prep, making sure everything's perfect before I do it. So I have had to learn not to do that. I still do it.
Little bit.
A little bit.
Little bit. And the last one is being accountable. So what does accountability or being accountable mean to you? What do you think? I'm looking for an answer.
You, funny.
Excuses, yeah.
You set goals and you making effort towards those goals and you're measuring. See where you're at, to your goals.
Yeah. Measuring against your goals, setting goals, absolutely.
Steps forward instead of just waiting for things to happen.
Yep. Anything else?
I think owning your results and not blaming others for bad results.
Yes, exactly.
Sharing your goals with others, so you have to show them and prove to them that you've achieved them or work towards them.
Yes. So for those who are online, just because Karina's at the back, I'm not sure if you heard her, sharing your goals with others so that you're having that dialogue with someone about what your goals are specifically. Okay? So that comes back to what Laura Lee mentioned earlier is it's getting an accountability partner. Another agent in the office, friend, spouse, whoever that might be for you, an accountability partner can make a big difference in making sure that you are not only setting your goals, but we're talking to someone about the steps you're taking. For those of you who are brand new, you'll be doing that with Maggie and your coaching. Maggie is great at goal setting and talking about goals, and really will help you focus to keep you on track and taking the proper steps.
One of our groups, when we were teaching this, they actually sort of got together themselves and they were keeping themselves accountable once a week. So they would meet, and I had the warm and fuzzies because one of these happened during COVID. And when we finally could go to a restaurant or go out a little bit, walked into a Tim Hortons and there are 5 of my agents sitting there. And over the time, they started keeping each other accountable. That's one of the biggest difference, like material wise, Bold and this is not really different. However, they're really smart. Who here is more accountable for somebody else? You're accountable for your kids, you're accountable to your husband or wife, you're accountable to your coach at the gym. Who can get to the gym better when you know there's a coach standing over there waiting for you to show up? You show up. Other than that, it's like the 4,000 excuses. Oh, I'm a little tired this morning. It's a little chilly, or my hair looks good, so I won't go to the gym and then try to go to work. Things like that. If my coach was standing there waiting for me to show up, I would show up. Okay, that's the difference between this and Bold. And that's why I'm saying if you put that in, like maybe all of you get together and say Monday mornings, either on Zoom or whatever, we're going to keep each other accountable. What did you do this week? What are you going to do next week? Things like that. Have that other person, because let me tell you, you are a lot more accountable.
Your Ignite group here is a great group
Yeah.
for that, right? You've got a great group of like-minded agents who want to take the next step in their career, jumpstart their career, reignite their career, all of that. So you've got a great group right here that you can be accountable to each other.
I'm sure all of you are exactly the same. Brad laughs because I don't sell real estate anymore. I do this job. And he looked at me and said, "Do you have any idea how much money you would have made in real estate if you were as accountable to yourself as you are to that office?" And it's like, yep, totally get it. And I never really seen that. Just so you know, don't do the accountability thing with husbands and wives. It doesn't work. Just so you know, find someone else, because I am also a divorce expert, or counselor, I guess, or a spousal and it's usually because, okay, they've got a team and we're trying to keep each other accountable. Like if Chad told me what to do, I'd laugh at him. It's like, go away, right? Or telling me, flyer's fine, send it out. It will not work, just so you know, so you can save yourself that meeting. Like, what do we do? I have a few people on date nights every Thursday night. So it's not an easy thing to do, but don't try to get with your spouse. It's not good. So pick someone else, get another couple. It'd be really good. Go out for beer or a wine.
Okay, so if you're on the accountability side, you seek reality, you acknowledge that reality, you own it, find solutions, and you get on with it. Right? So that's what's coming from accountability. If you're on the other side, don't seek reality, you fight reality, you blame, right? It's never your fault, someone else's fault. There's always a lot of personal excuses, and there's a lot of waiting and hoping. So that's the difference when we're talking about accountability. So again, when we tying it back to limiting beliefs, sometimes people hear accountability and they kind of tense up and think like it's a very negative. It's not. It's meant to be a positive. It's meant to be about growth. It's meant to be, like Karina said, you're setting your goals and then you're stating what they are and you're sharing that goal with someone else and then working with that accountability partner or coach or whoever it may be to help make sure you're on track. That's a positive thing, not a negative.
Right? There's a lot that'll come up in this course, and then like there's business planning and there's all kinds of stuff coming. When you sit down, you're going to be doing your goals and you're going to be writing out where you want to take your business to. Read it every Monday morning. That's an accountability thing. Like, let me tell you, when you read it, it's like, yeah, I didn't do that last week. So you're reminding yourself constantly, these are my goals. I have to do this to get there. We have American money, Canadian money now.
Because
Aaron
customized this. So the next part, where your commission dollars go. So just an overview or a breakdown. So typically, when you're looking at a listing on MLS, typically that commission is split 50-50. Sometimes you'll see some different splits than 50-50 listing versus selling side, but generally speaking 50-50. So half the commission goes to the listing brokerage, half the commission goes to the buying brokerage. So once you have that split, then you have your part or half of the commission. Then you have your split market center, right, to contribute towards your cap. Have your business expenses. Sometimes we refer to these as your cost of sales. We're going to get into that in more detail. Taxes. This is a big one. A lot of people forget that CRA, that's the money, and they'll come calling for it if you don't give it to them. So make sure, we often recommend, especially when you're starting out in real estate, you're now running your own business. You have to think of it that way. So when you get your commission, you're not going to get to keep all of that, spend it all on shoes or trips or whatever it might be. You have to make sure that you're putting a portion of that away for your taxes, and some of that needs to go towards your expenses of running your business. If you think that you'd like to have your taxes withheld, Erin can provide that. We do offer that service at the office. She can withhold your income tax. She can also withhold your HST. That's another important element when you're starting out in real estate. Because we are a service-based industry, we do collect HST. Commission has HST on it. So in that, you have to remit your HST to CRA, making sure that have a good accountant, because you can also use your input tax credits, so some of your business expenses off of that HST, so that reduces that HST down. You don't have to fully remit the whole total amount back. Again, CRA comes calling if you don't keep on top of your taxes and your HST. So if that's something if you're very diligent, we often recommend a separate bank account if you're going to keep it yourself. You know, if you have a savings account off to the side that you're on every commission, your HST and your income tax is kind of coming off and going over there into that account. And that's what that account is for, so that you can then pay your taxes. If you don't want to do that, or you think that it would be easier to have it all come off at the source, because that's what you're used to, if you've come from salary-based career previously and all that's come off, and you think it's easier for Erin to withhold it for you and then give it to you when your installments or your lump sum is due, she can do that. So if you want to go that route, you just let Erin know and she can withhold it for you. We have a lot of agents that take advantage of that. Because
I'd say most now.
Yeah, and we've had some agents, unfortunately. This is why we teach this. And if you want more, again, in-depth knowledge on this, we're going to cover in it kind of in an overview in Ignite. But if you want a really in-depth look at the financials and how you should be breaking down your business, we talk about 30-30-40, which is your 30% right of your cost of goods sold, expenses, and then your net profit. That's a model from the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. Erin teaches that in the Agent Financials course. So if you want a more high level deep dive into it, it's a great course to take. But in the meantime, we'll do an overview. And if you have any questions, you know, Laura-Lee and I are happy to answer them. We are not accountants, but we
know what the government.
We have a very good knowledge of financials.
Yeah.
Running the Market Center financials. So if you have any questions about that, please reach out to us. Erin is a very great resource when it comes to finances. She teaches that agent financial courses. She can talk to you about withholding HST and income taxes. She's sort of your go-to for anything and all numbers and finances. She's on vacation this week, or else we'd be here. But she's a great resource.
And you heard a word that honestly, and other people, meaning probably you were at different brokerages, word profit comes up all the time, KW, and you think, oh, that's a really good thing, right? Most of the time, like I can honestly tell you that there are probably agents in the city making $400,000 or $500,000 have this much in their bank account. So we teach how to keep your expenses proper, what your cost of sales are going to be, and then your profit. The profit is what you actually take home. And you have to figure that out long before everything else starts being paid out. There's no use. Yes, you can buy a business, but why are you putting it all back into your business and not having the money you need to run your life? Okay. Or have those vacations. When we really looked at it, it was kind of like, oh my God, our cost of sales are way too high. This is too high. That's too high. And it's kind of like, okay, let's scale back. And now, okay, we're paying ourselves. And when you see that, and now that's again, running that business, taking that business to the next level, where at one point in this, you could step back and your business will run by itself and you'll be able to make the money. But that's knowing that there is profit and understanding that what you have to do with your profit to make that world reality.
So, our next one. So this is an example income goal. Okay. So as we discussed, everyone's goal in real estate is going to be different. It's going to personal to you what it is. So your net income goal might be very different than the agent sitting next to you, right? It's going to come down to what you personally feel is required to fund your life and your family's life and all of the, you know, circumstances that come into that. So this is an example. These are using real numbers and stats from our market center and our market area as far as what an average commission is. So the idea with this exercise is to help you break down how many homes you would need to sell a year in order to fund that life. So what would you need to make for your income to do that? So you'll see the first line, A, is your net income goal, which is 100,000. And then your B, your company dollar and royalty cap, is 23,000, because as we know, we have a $20,000 cap and a $3,000 royalty at Keller Williams. And once you've paid in that cap and royalty, then you're on 100% until your anniversary date, which is a unique commission model in the industry. Keller Williams was the first to come up with a capped commission structure so that you would then be on 100%. Keller Williams was also the first to come up with profit share. We can get into that in a little more detail if anyone has questions. But so next, after you have your company dollar and your cap, you've got your business expenses of 50,000. So then that's going to bring you to your total gross commission income. So we talk a lot in abbreviations in real estate. You'll see that in our forms. You'll see it a lot in Keller Williams. We have a lot of abbreviations and acronyms and things. If we're speaking in that language and you're not sure what we mean, just sometimes we forget because we're talking the language. But GCI is gross commission income. You'll hear that often. So 100. So if what we're doing is we're adding the 100,000 to the 23,000 and the 50,000 to bring us to 173,000. That's our gross commission income. Our average commission at Keller Williams Select here in this market center is 8,000. It's actually a little over 8, but we've rounded it down. So 8,000. So we divide that, and that gives us 24.7 annual transactions. Everybody clear how we got there?
Now remember, on your average commission, this is where knowing your value is really important, because your number goes way up if you decide I'm only worth 1%.
Just breaking down that average commission. So right now, our average sale price is around 400,000. These are stats specific to our market center. So Keller Williams Select, we're actually a little over 400,000, but with roughly, to round it to an even number, 400,000. And then our average commission rate is 2%. Actually a little over that. So we've rounded everything down to make it a little easier for basic math. So that's where that 8,000 commission is also coming from, right? So we track all of our stats, all of our metrics, and you'll see that when we present our financials in the monthly meetings, and you can see that PW can provide those stats for you in your, we call it, did I bring the multi-year trends? Our multi-year trends looks like this. It's a big spreadsheet, goes through, I don't know if you can see, it goes through all of our stats monthly, and then month to date, average month over month, and year to date. So this is for the market center. This is what we use to run the market center. Same thing is being provided for you for your own business, because you're running your own real estate business. So it's called your multi-year trends, and it's in your reports, in MyKW. That'll track all of your numbers, so you can see what your numbers are for your average commission, your GCI, your units, all of that.
And it's year after year, which is, it's nice to be able to look and see, okay, what did I do in that year? Because I did really, really well. And being able to analyze your own business, like we analyze the entire company. So it's good to know your numbers. Most agents don't. I'm amazed when I say, you know, what did you make last year with a new agent coming in? I don't know. Okay, well, your reports have everything you're doing, so shoot in there and see what you're doing. But sometimes it's an eye opener. It's like I've had people come in and say, yeah, I did 10 deals last year. No, you didn't. You did 19 deals last year. Like, oh, okay. They just know they were working a lot more than they had, but their money maybe not coming up at the same speed. Means maybe they're not communicating their value. Maybe they're not keeping their commissions where their value is, making sure that they're getting paid properly. So easiest thing in the world is to say, and everyone's going to ask you for commission increase. Learn what your value is, so, and then no one will ask you ever to have a commission to see.
That's coming later in
It comes.
Ignite.
Yeah, I'm way ahead now. That's like
You are.
9 or 10.
The goal of this exercise is to help you have concrete numbers on what your goals are and what you would need to do for transactions. A lot of people find it helpful to sort of break it down into smaller chunks. So to say, you know, I want a net income goal of 100,000. What does that mean I need to do every day, right? So if my annual transaction goal is 24 transactions, then I can further break that down into a monthly, weekly, right? How many appointments do I need to go on? How many listings do I need to get? How many buyer ends do I need to do? So it helps you break it down further so that you know your day-to-day, your weekly to your monthly activities, what you need to do to achieve that goal. Make sense to everybody?
Does anyone know how they're getting to that 100,000? When you're setting your goals with anything in life, don't focus on that number. You need to know what the number is,
Yeah.
obviously, so you can get there. But write down your whys. What do you want your life to look like next year? And then figure out how much you need to fund that life. So yes, I want to go away twice next year. I want to be able to buy a new car. I want to pay cash for a new car. That's where you do it. And a lot of people do things like Y boards. It's another name for it, but I call it my
Vision
Y
board.
My
Vision
vision
board.
board.
Yeah.
So just put Y at the top and stick all kinds of stuff. I know it's get your got glue from your kids and stuff. Just get the glue out and make your vision board. And it's shocking how easy it is to get to your vision versus the number. Okay, so keep
Yeah.
the vision, right? I always had it when my computer popped up. There's my kids sitting there on Adirondack chairs. We did the whole thing down on the dock, got the kids
Yeah.
sitting in the chairs, taking the picture, because that was our why. Like they needed that time with the kid. We needed time with the kids. We needed to take them on vacation. All those different things were our why. And it's much easier to get there if you're working towards your why versus working towards a number. This is, once you have the number, you can work out down to, I have to go on 2 appointments this week to list properties. So you can get it right down to that. And we have a business planning course in the fall that you
Yes.
love.
To help break this down, like Laura said, it's important to start with your why, because tying your goal to your why is going to make your goal much more achievable and have a purpose. We've seen that a lot over the years where agents have set these wonderful goals and we're cheering them on and they haven't tied it to their why, so they struggle to get to that goal. Whereas if you do tie it to your bigger why, so say it's family, or it's, you know, for a lot of people, it's families. For some, it's more of a personal thing, like maybe it's a trip, maybe it's a car, maybe it's a, you know, an RV, a cottage, who knows, right? It's going to be different for everyone. Your why is going to be different than yours and yours and yours, right? We all are driven by different motivators. But it's important when you're thinking of your goals that you're tying it to that why, because that's why you're doing what you're doing, why you're going on that appointment, and why, you know, it's about helping people. And real estate is a very rewarding career because you do get to help people. You're helping them, your, you know, biggest financial asset they own, you know, buying or selling it. It's a very rewarding career. When you tie it also to your own why, it becomes that much more rewarding.
That definitely works. It's important because you've got to know what you're working for.
Yeah.
More than I need that kind of money.
And sometimes it can simply be that your why might be expense related, right? You might have student loans, or you're trying to put a child through university, or you have you know, an aging parent that now needs to go to a nursing home. Like there's all kinds of other factors that could be your why. right? It might be more financially driven purely out of a need help, right? So,
And one of the things that KW teaches is debt free, which is something that is never taught. If anything, you know, when you're talking to your bank manager and everything's like, what do you want? Here, take a loan, here, get a bigger mortgage, want a bigger house, get a bigger mortgage. We really focus on, and that goal can be debt free in the next 5 years. So just do this exercise. One of the trainers I sat with, they said, okay, take your expenses, your mortgage, your taxes, some of it you can't get rid of. Like you can't get rid of city taxes. I've tried to figure that out and do it. But think about your mortgage, your visa payments, every expense you have every month. Circle the ones that you can actually get down to zero. And you'll be shocked at how much actual income's coming into your house every month if you were debt free. And that includes things like mortgages or investment property mortgages, whatever it is. Once you get debt free, all that money is yours to live the life you want to live. You don't have to think about stress as well. Okay, I have to have the closing because my mortgage is coming out. If you don't have a mortgage, that's really nice. Okay. And it is a cool little thing to do and add up all of those expenses. Another one I heard is never, and Gary Keller does this, never pay 1 penny in interest. Has anyone here got to that? That you never pay 1 cent in interest ever. And that can be your goal, which is, okay, in the next 5 years, I am never going to in my life pay interest again.
paid interest, probably all those years listening to Gary, although my parents are very
My
interested
father was the
too.
exact same. It's like, you don't understand how visa companies make money. Ooh,
Yeah.
not gonna show you my visa card back. Because my dad with
We do,
October.
no, it's November, I don't know if my
November.
phone is in the office, November. I want to say 17th, but I'm going by memory and that could be off, but it's around mid-November. Yes, we'll have business planning here in person. I haven't talked to Glenn about Zoom but I'm sure he'll be fine with that. We're bringing Glenn McQueenie in to do business planning.
Anyone that has met this man, you will know that he's a fantastic trainer.
Yeah, he's great.
He owns 3 market centers or 2? 2 market
Yeah,
centers.
in Toronto and the London area.
And he's just, as a matter of fact, just do this.
Yeah. And we'll have that out. Once we have the New Brunswick training done, then we'll be sending out the registration for the business planning. The next piece of this is obviously for you to do this exercise yourself. So some of you, if you're Ds, you may have already done this while we've been chatting. Personality. But, if you haven't, we won't take more time to do this now in class, but we're going to ask you to do this as homework, that you have this figured out. Does everybody need like a 5-minute bathroom break? Is everybody okay? Keep plowing through? Or do you want to have a short break?
Break? Yeah. We'll
Okay,
take it.
let's do a quick 5-minute break. You can work on this or you can run to the washroom. I'm gonna run to the washroom.
I figured that's why we're.
Yeah, very self-motivated.
How are you?
Good.
It's lovely to meet you in person.
I know,
In
isn't
the
it?
flesh.
I know. I'm here.
You settled down after the wedding.
Yes, we don't know what to do with ourselves some days. It's like, oh my
Wonderful.
God, we
I-
don't have to. It was a lot of planning and a lot of work, but it went off. Like,
It looks
so
like
it was,
stunning wedding.
it was, we're waiting.
I saw it on
They're both in, the newlyweds are on their honeymoon in
Italy.
Italy, and
Yeah.
they said, oh, we got some of our pictures. It's like, are you sending them? No, not until we get home. We want to show.
Curate
you."
them and yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to see. We only got like a snap of a couple of pictures, so
Yeah.
everything went off absolutely.
They were a gorgeous couple. They're
Mhm.
just. So that's so great.
And he's like, we're blessed. Had threatened our children. Basically, it was like, don't forget, whoever you bring in as a spouse, you're bringing into our family. So get it right, because, and we so far, knock on wood, the three older ones are in very committed relationships and all of our.
He was telling me the other day, we had the mentor chat
Mhm.
and, Rouse.
I know,
Yeah, he likes to
He's
talk,
very-
I like that.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
committed.
He's very-
I sit there sometime like. I know this already, we're good, but yeah, no, he's, but he did that with kids, he actually. Kids used to call them family meetings, and at one of them, it was like, just choose your spouse wisely, don't rush into anything. Because you're teaching them for the whole family.
Totally, but that's part of the job of a parent, like
Yeah.
you're supposed to teach your kids these things, I think people don't do enough of that.
Yeah, because when you bring someone in, that's kind of like, oh, okay, because like we are both the same. We don't want anybody to change the dynamic of our family. So it's important, and so far, man. We still have it harder.
That fails, if the threats don't work, they need to watch. Worst ex-spouses on Netflix. Oh, isn't that right?
I've seen one. I'm thinking, oh, yeah. Not as
I've
bad
had a
as I
few
thought.
crazy exes too, so that's why I think we're gonna all relate, but I think that's a great valuable lesson, like.
Yeah.
Be like annoyed about it, but also be conscious of what's out there in the world, like.
Yeah, well, think about it. Like, is it going to change what we have? And because our kids are very much like, we're very, very appreciative. So it's like, okay, well, don't have to that. We worked very hard to make sure that family unit was strong.
Especially with.
Not that we're perfect, let me tell you.
Well, nobody's perfect, like you were saying, nothing's ever gonna be perfect, you just gotta.
No, we took Carter out for his birthday for lunch. He's at Acadia this year. He's been at Acadia for years. And his brother, sister, and our grandkids. And went out to lunch with him.
Yeah.
And he was hungover.
Oh.
And it was like, oh, after his birthday, he's gonna have a talking to. Cause he was just sitting there like, oh, okay, I'm here because you're forcing me to come for lunch.
Carter?
Yeah, Carter was hungover yesterday for his, yep.
Also rite of passage.
Oh, yeah.
There, but it's good to know that there are consequences, right?
Oh, yeah. When mom starts talking on Wednesday after his birthday and says, get your shit together, buddy, cause I have those conversations, Chad's like, I'm never going up there again. He didn't even speak. Oh, no. He was sitting there like, I'm gonna die. He wanted to go for sushi. I don't like sushi. Everyone else likes sushi, so I sort of try to figure out something I can eat that. Thought we could have went to a restaurant if you're not even gonna finish your.
Is the sushi like that raw fish thing that you don't
Yeah.
like, or?
No, I don't like the
Or the
seaweed.
white? Oh, the seaweed.
So there's a nice sushi place on Quinpool.
Seaweed.
Well, they do it with rice paper.
Oh, yeah. Good.
Yeah. I just,
I'm not a big sushi fan either.
no, but I thought it was this. So I wasn't
Yeah.
crazy about different things, but I even California rolls. Then I realized if I take it apart, just eat everything, but
The rice.
the
The seaweed.
seaweed, I like it. And it's kind of like, okay, that makes more sense now.
Oh, I left the key for the Bridgewater office on the
Yes.
desk for you.
Oh, you left it here.
No, it's there in Bridgewater.
Oh, there, okay, got it, because I
Yeah.
did get an email from Aaron saying
Yeah.
it's over there.
Yeah,
Perfect, okay, but I thought you maybe brought it here.
no, but if I had known you were coming, I would have just here.
No, it's so good because it forced me to go into the office to introduce myself and meet people there too, and yeah, for sure. Thank you for doing that. I really appreciate it.
Welcome.
You guys have been so super awesome. Yeah, thank you.
How's your first week been, Kelly?
Yeah, I feel like I'm almost all sorted out now.
Oh, good.
Good.
First week is a
Oh my
little.
gosh, I was just panicked. Everyone in here was like dealing with me. Yeah, I feel.
That's
But it
what
was
we're here for, though.
great.
That's what we're all here for.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really.
How are you finding your start? Hadn't murdered your dad or anything?
It's been super great.
Eh,
I had like I've done like a lot of this paperwork for him.
Yeah.
All of this paperwork. And I remember for my name on
Congratulations.
awesome.
like I'm Mexican Kelly on Sunday night and I woke up with
That's what I needed.
and I was like
I wonder if they answered me. It feels like that with the first offer. It's like that with all offers, so. I always wait impatiently for my responses. I would not have been good in that
Oh, the crazy
crazy
market.
market. Is just losing half of your deals
And-
because you're not the subject.
And you did real estate.
New
New life entrepreneur.
I mean, the.
No, that's-
What is it? You're. Oh, we just travel to.
Honestly, though, that's fun with no base and no.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I see.
like.
So, that was one.
No?
Joined last week.
Yeah, we're gonna.
For today. Last night I told them.
Who is that? Oh,
From
Push out of it a bit.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
the hills, Holland.
What were your backup plans?
Gosh.
Yes.
So you got it, right? Yeah.
Actually, we're not.
Especially like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go here. Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, I think they do it at small impact.
Yeah.
Right. We'll do it.
So that's fine. That's for another one.
Oh, yeah, both of us just started at 9:05, didn't want to get stage time, patients to start. He started at 3.
Is the hill located?
Yes, yes, she does.
I know, I have weird things. This is your mother's fault. So put something with them. Well, it's weird, and then they all started to put their turbans. Then they changed the color of the turbans, so. Put a baseball cap on.
So that's split. But you research yourself. Yeah. I love it. Trying to support it.
The machine train.
Fire.
With all that, it's not the same.
And it's so job on.
She seems to be getting. Yeah, so maybe some, yeah.
Tonight.
I
I haven't seen any of our ads. Yes. Cause you're looking at it, yeah. All right, are we ready to get back into it?
For sure.
All right, so if you haven't done the exercise, please do that as part of your homework. The next one, this is important because we're going to talk a lot about making connections and contacts in Ignite. So this is the closure part of, especially if you're going to make calls. So we have to make sure that we are complying with the do not call list and the Telephone Consumer Protection Act. So for the Canadian version, that's the do not call list. So Erin's got this lovely and you could scan the drawing up like, thank you, QR code. I'm like, it's gone. QR code, thank you, Leah. So you can gain access to our do not call list. So the Market Center has subscribed to the do not call list. So this is important because if you're going to do any sort of cold calling, and it doesn't necessarily even have to be cold calling, if you're calling people that are in your database, and if you're a new agent, your database might just be contacts in your iPhone or Android if you have your iPhones. We are iPhone people. You need to make sure that you're not calling someone that's on the do not call list. The signs for this are significant, not only to you as an individual, but to us as a brokerage. This is very, very serious. That we do not call people that are on the do not call list. So if you've got a contact you've done business with, you're in an ongoing business relationship with, i.e. they're in their designated brokerage agreement or a seller designated brokerage agreement, you're under contract and you're actively working with that person, even if they're on the do not call list, you have permission to call them because you're in an active relationship with them. After that transaction has closed, there's an 18-month period where you're still allowed to call that person. After 18 months, if they're on the do not call list, we're not allowed to call them without permission. They're on the do not call list, you cannot call them. So you scan the QR, you'll come to a form. You have to register and acknowledge you're being provided the do not call list by us, that you're going to comply with it. And then we, on our end, the Market Center is taking care of keeping it updated. It gets updated every year. So we get downloaded and then uploaded. And basically the easiest way, it's a spreadsheet. The easiest way, if you're a Mac user, is Control F in the spreadsheet to find, search the number or the name of the person and it'll come up. If they're on the do not call list, if they don't come up, we're not on it. Being clear, off you go, call away. But it's very important. If you also are calling someone and they've asked for them to be put on your do not call list, then you have to maintain a list. So if you're in command and that person has said, do not call me, and you've got a smart plan, say, set up to say, call this person every quarter, you've got to take them off that. You can't call them if they've asked or requested to be removed. That's part of the do not call legislation. My sort of
So
serious
it works really well.
not summary of that.
If you're sending something to someone that does not want the stuff that's coming, it says right at the bottom, and I would even say, like, put it at the bottom of anything that you're sending, just saying, press stop or text me back stop. Command does this automatically, right at the bottom of anything you're sending. It says, if you do not want to receive this, just press stop.
Yeah, so that's a different legislation that Laura Lee is referring to. So if you're going to use texting or email, and that falls under a different legislation than do not call. So that's exactly what you have to do. Give them an opt out. And if they've chosen to opt out, you need to remove them. Pretty clear on that? Any questions?
And I would say for a regular text that you're sending, not at the bottom of your text,
No,
right? So check
but if
the
you're
do
going to
not
start
call.
doing mass text,
Yeah.
and they become more of like a promotional thing, because you can do that in command, right? If you get a Twilio account, you can then start texting as part of a smart plan to mass text out to your contacts. And obviously you'll have more success in making it not look like a mass text so that it looks more personal, so they don't know that it's a mass text, but sometimes people can tell. And if they put stop or they ask to be removed, you've got to remove them.
Exactly. And for myself, I know I check that list. I'm just sending a text from my own phone. Because those texts actually don't have that information on it.
Yeah.
So just be careful that you're not annoying somebody. And it's gonna be weird people that are on that. There are agents on the do not call list.
I know. No, why? I don't know.
I'm kind of thinking,
Apply to any dorm deal or
no.
No.
say the harass each person.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. All right. So, So, powerful conversations to get results. So this is why we just had sort of the chat about the do not call list. The idea with Ignite is that you're going to follow the daily success system. So you'll see that in your workbooks. So they want you to lead generate and cover people's motivations, identify objections, close deals, speak in terms the customer understands and builds confidence. So the idea is also not to have these conversations in a like, who do you know that wants to buy or sell a house today? Like it has to come from contribution. So making sure that your conversation is coming from a place of care and even concern. So if it's someone you haven't reached out to in a while, it might be more of a, how are you? We haven't talked in a while. How are things going? How, how is your family, etc. And then you can, say, I've changed a career. I'm now in real estate. If you know anybody that's looking for a great realtor, I'm happy to help. Making sure that your conversations are, especially if it's someone that you haven't had a lot of contact with lately, make sure that it's coming from that perspective rather than say now get this, right? Like that's it.
When are you moving?
Yeah, exactly.
So, and that works for all the different areas. It's not
Mhm.
just calls, like door knock. One of the things that I've seen work really well with door knocking is bringing the stats for the area. Okay, so have lists that you can hand people of what has sold, what is on the market. Would you like us to keep you up to date? That's an ideal thing, and you just come back, put them in command, and all of a sudden they're going to have something coming from you constantly about their market area. Same with like when I was saying about the invite. I'm really good if I'm giving somebody something. If I'm there to ask for myself, I'm really bad at it.
Yeah.
So I always came from that side, same as an open house. Like you're not coming to my open house without a cookie. Right? And a lot of people say, well, really need a cookie. Most people don't take them, but at least I'm saying, would you like something or a bottle of water or whatever it is? Just a suggestion. If you're having ice cream, don't let them eat. Let's eat it in the house. I'm speaking from, I used to have ice cream open houses. So it was like, you want your cone? I'll give it to you as you're walking out of the house. Exactly. So little things like that, that you'll get your niche and you'll see what works for you.
So we often talk about sphere. You'll hear us talk about sphere of influence, or SOI, again, are the abbreviations. So your sphere of influence are people that you have met and they know, trust, and respect you. They're most likely to help you. And people often do business with people they know, like, and trust. So you're going to have the best success, especially being new in the business and launching career, to reach out to your sphere of influence first and making contact with them, letting them know that, you're in the business, what you're doing now, often they'll ask how they can support you because they have that close relationship with you. So that's the place to start first.
The idea.
And this is a stat. Now, this is an American stat, but the Canadian ones are pretty close. The National Association of Realtors, which is in the States, says 66% of sellers, 41% of buyers found their agent through a friend, neighbor, or relative, or used an agent they worked with before. So that sphere, that relationship, it's a very much a relationship business. So reaching out to people you already know is a great place to start. The next slide shows, on average, people will make a move every 7 to 10 years. That's the cycle. And again, this comes from NAR research. They've tracked the data and looked at, how often people move, and it often has to do with life events too. So sometimes it's schooling, it's kids leaving for school, which can be a downside. It's new baby, or moving to a better school district can be an upsize. It can be retirement, divorce. Unfortunately, we deal with death often. So there are all kinds of different life events that can trigger that cycle, right? So it might, this is an average, so they might move less than this, they might move more than this, right? It's hard. It depends on what life event is happening. But the idea is if on average they're moving every 7 to 10 years, they're more likely to do business with you if you're staying in contact with them. So if you're top of mind and you're keeping that relationship going, you're staying in touch, they're more likely to remember you. And if they're saying, oh, well, like Aaliyah has invited me to an open house and she sent me market stats on my house, and she invited me to her client event, of course I'm going to call Aaliyah when it's time to move again, right? So keeping that contact and that relationship going over time makes it more likely that they're going to think of you and that you're going to be that realtor for those cycles as they come through.
There was a very cool survey done in the States, in New York City, right in Times Square, believe it or not. And the first question when people were asked across the survey was, when was you sold or bought a house in the last 5 years? And anyone that said yes, they got the next question. The next question was, did you work with an agent? If they worked with an agent, they at 80% or 85% said they worked with an agent. Next question was, did you like your agent? I loved the agent. Almost 90% said they loved their agent. Next question, what is your agent's name? And only 28% knew their agent's name. Oh, keeping in touch is so important because nothing is going to piss you off more.
$5.
$5. Than opening up a hot sheet in the morning and seeing a house that you sold 10 years ago with another agent. We're going to get a little bitty about it. I'll give it to you.
Another $5.
Yeah. Let go. It's right. Let it go, because you have no idea why that decision was made. And everyone is going to get angry about this. It's going to happen to you. But think about this. Your cousin just got in real estate, even though they don't know anything about real estate, not a great agent. If they actually don't use them as a real estate agent, they're probably going to have a huge amount of problems with their family screaming out. Right? So you have no idea why they made that decision. However, put in your brain, oh, I haven't talked to that person in 10 years. That could be the reason. Okay. And that's probably the only good reason that you haven't communicated. You communicate, they should be calling you back. They have to like you, know you, and trust you. Right? How easy. That's what a good relationship's going to do. They like you, they know you, they trust you. When people send referrals, think about a friend gives you a referral, you already know that person likes you, they trust you, and they know what they have the ability to do this deal really well. So you're halfway through the process already of getting them to that point. And ask for the referral. So if you don't ask, you're not going to get. And we just learned this. It has one lawyer, very good lawyer, used him for years. And he asked Chad to go out for lunch, and Chad said, I just realized. Chad gets the stats and told him, I've sent you over 90 deals. And he says, yeah, I know, thank you so much, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'd like a referral. He never asked before that. He's had 2 referrals in a week.
Sometimes it's as simple as asking.
Do you have anyone? So yes, 75% of his business is probate. Really? Says, I never even thought of it, Chad.
So in your manuals, there's an exercise. It just talks about looking at the cycle where your sphere of influence. So usually your sphere of influence is a smaller group that you have a more close established relationship with. So looking at where they would be in the cycle, and who you should be reaching out to based on knowing this now, right? And then the next piece is when you are having those conversations is using the FORD method. And so you'll hear this a lot. So FORD stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So the idea is that when you're having the conversations, we're asking specific questions around these 4 areas, right? So how's your family doing? Heard you had a new baby, or are you still working at XYZ company? Are you liking that? Are there any changes coming? Did you get that boat you talked about buying years ago? Did you, are you on track for that retirement plan to move to the country? Like all of those kinds of things like tie into those 4 specific areas. And those are the things that help you kind of get to what their why is and where they're at in their stage, and will help you determine where they are.
Think about this. That's hard to remember, right? So when you're doing a deal with someone, Amanda's fabulous for this. Start putting your notes in. Kid's name. Let me tell you, someone's going to be very impressed if you say, how is Joey's soccer going? Remember Joey, and if you have a memory like mine, you can be very assured that I could not remember that that kid's name is Joey. And I wouldn't have ever been able to remember that he played soccer. But keeping those notes that you can go back and say, okay, they wanted to buy a boat. Have you moved forward with that boat? Well, are you, then they'll talking about it, maybe they want to downsize because they're on the boat a lot longer now, right?
Exactly.
But you will not, I can't remember their names half the time. So, yeah, I walk. So I'm not good with faces. That's the opposite. Can be walking down the hall and says, here's one of your clients, Laura. Like, oh, I'm not telling you if you don't know. And it's like, kill you now. Usually by the time I get to them, do. And you will do the same thing. Think about it. People will remember meeting you at an open house 5 years ago. I can tell you, unless you're weird, you will not remember meeting that
I
person.
know. Look at them, you're like, I know you. I
Yeah.
know you. I know.
But, you'll end up at their house and find out, oh,
Yeah.
my open house package is sitting on their table. And that's the things like you get good at, hi, how are you? How's everything going? And you're just praying they tell you something that reminds you of what it was. Yeah.
Or sometimes you remember their house.
Yeah.
That's the thing in
remember
my
their
family. We're like,
address.
so and so, that's one. We remember them by the address, and then we're like, okay, that was that address, so that was that person. Right?
So writing
Funny.
command.
Yes, command helps. It's so good for that. 100%.
Yeah.
Dogs' names,
Dogs'
cats'
names.
names, all the kids' names.
Like, so if he sees them buying a certain beer at the store, he'll write that in.
That's a great
He's
tip.
Getting a gift.
Yes.
They look fun, like.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's a great point, Aaliyah, because if you're, as you get going, often many of us will give like a closing gift on the day of closing, and when you know little tips like that, it helps to make it more personal, which then helps them remember you and the experience. And great idea.
You can imagine after 15 years, you're not going to remember everything. So those notes are ideal. Like earlier, when we didn't have something like command, there was a note page in our file.
Yes.
We would open it and it's like, well, this,
Yeah,
they're
everything.
from here, they're from,
Everything
you
was
have that
paper.
information. So now it's easy. You just
Right. So moving on to the next section, which is the 6 core competencies of a business. So the first one, obviously, we've talked a lot about lead generate, capture, convert to appointments, present to buyers and sellers and get agreements, show buyers and market sellers, write and negotiate contracts, coordinate the sale to closing, and manage the money. So those are the main 6 core competencies. And we're going to cover all of these throughout Ignite. This comes from the Shift book. great read about shifting markets. So the first core competency, obviously we've talked a lot about lead generation, and that obviously if you don't have leads, don't have any business. So what you want to do is find what works best for you. We've talked a lot about that. We're going to get, as I said, you're going to get more into lead generation as we go through Ignite further. But when you're capturing a lead, you want to make sure that you're getting all of their accurate information. So like we just talked about, and best place to put that is in command. Often also in your phone, for those of you who are new who may not have put everything in command yet, or you're not using it to the full extent, your contact in your phone for the person often has most of that information too, but you want to have at minimum name, phone number, address, email, and then whatever else they're willing to give you as far as like personal information. So like number of kids names, pets, all of that. And you want to also make sure that you ask permission to stay in contact with them, which we've talked about already.
The nice thing about this is it's easier for them to say stop than it is to look at you and say, no, I don't want you to keep it. I'll never say it. But when you ask that, you've got your permission.
So the next one is present buyers and sellers get agreement. So this is about your skill during the appointment with the buyer or the seller. So presenting to buyers means going through your buyer consultation, which outlines, it's a document in the toolkit in Ignite. So if you don't have one, there's one you can modify. There's lots of templates in Command and on Connect as well that you can like go in. There's a template right there, and then you can customize it to make it yours. But it's important that you have a proper buyer consultation and that you actually sit down and go through the process with your buyers. And that's what we talk about in the buyer consultation process, how to go through that. And part of that process is also then our agency document, right? So that's our BDBA and going through that. So we'll get into that in more detail as well as we get going through Ignite. And it's similar for the seller. So when you're going through your listing presentation, like when you think about going into a listing, I would hope you don't go with no information, but the idea is that you're going to go in with your presentation. So you're typically going to start, with a pre-listing package that you might drop off to them or mail to them before you go for the appointment. You're going to go do your comparative market analysis to help determine where it fits price-wise in the market. Then you're going to go through your listing presentation with them. So that they're very clear on all of the steps that you're going to take to help them sell their house, and that the process is very clear. So on both sides, that's the importance of going through those consultations with buyer or seller up front, is to make sure that everybody's very clear on the process. And that also helps to demonstrate value you're bringing, right? So there are kind of two elements to it.
And think about those guides she was just talking about. Feel them, put your name on them, go through and make them your own. Don't start from scratch. It's a long process. There's a lot of stuff. But think about that first listing appointment, or you're not sure about a listing appointment. Go through your guide and you won't forget anything. Just make sure everything you have to do is in that guide. And then it's super easy. It's page after page. And you say, it'll give you the reminders. Even as an experienced agent, it's difficult to say, I did it. Everyone has my package when you joined. That's exactly what that is. It's a guide for me as well to say, okay, this, this, and this, and this. So it makes you like all your value is right there. So you're not going to forget. Give them the value you've got. And they are nice ones in Command. Like I was surprised at how nice they are. But ask other agents, just say, can I see your guide?
And it doesn't necessarily mean you have to print it and present it in paper, right? It's whatever. It can be on your computer. Like some agents like to do it on their laptop, or they'll bring their iPad and you do everything digitally, or you'll email like a pre-listing package to them. They get it that way, right? Some people are old school and still like paper, right? It's whatever works for you and what your preference is. But the important thing is that you do have some sort of consultation package ready, yeah.
And it's more, it helps you just as much as it's gonna be great for them.
So the next one is about showing buyers and marketing listings for sellers. So showing buyers is all about understanding the needs of the buyer and selecting houses for them to experience with you. So making sure, again, that's going to come back into your buyer consultation, which we'll get into details of that, and narrowing down what your buyer is looking for. And then marketing sellers translate to marketing their house in the best possible light to bring in as many potential buyers as possible and get the interest in the property, right? So from both perspectives, the marketing. The next one is to write and negotiate contracts once you have the agreement in place. And this is a responsibility that, you know, we find a lot of new agents kind of get nervous about because like get a little bit intimidated about by like the forms and the formality of a contract. But they're really, there's nothing to be scared of. You've got a whole team to support you. So like Aaliyah with your first offer, you're on your dad's team, right? So you had your dad there to help you. But if you or your dad had a question, you know, you can call any of the broker team to help you, right? And for brand new agents who aren't on a team, you've got you're paired up with a mentor and with Maggie for coaching. So you've got that support system in place as well as the broker team. And then for everybody else, you've got a great resource in the office with a great team. There's a bunch of us. So we have the broker line that you can call. You'll get the broker on duty. And you know, that's what we're here for, is to help you. So if you're in a weird, tricky situation, and tell you, it gets some really funny questions. Don't be afraid to call us. If you find yourself in a unique situation, something is weird or you've never experienced before, or you're writing your first deal and you can't reach, your mentor, please reach out to the broker team. We are here to help. And
it really doesn't matter if you've been with us for 10 years or 5 minutes. The broker team is there to help. You're going to see the weirdest things in this industry that maybe you have never seen before. And I know for myself, I joined here, told them I'm coming on Friday, and I was here on Monday morning, writing an offer on a mobile home because Chad went fishing. And I had never done this before. So I called Ann. Said, Ann, can you just read over this offer? Because I'm not 100% sure. I've never done this before. He laughed. It was like, how many years have you been in the business? We've done numerous deals together, Laura. I said, I have never sold a trailer. Never.
Mobile.
Yeah.
I know. I know. So she said, yeah, everything's good. I said, perfect. And I said, any advice? Am I doing, what should I really focus on here? And she goes, yeah, don't call it a trailer. And it's like, so I switched over to mobile home. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You ask, because let me tell you, it's so much easier to get the right answer instead of fixing a mistake.
Exactly.
It costs you $5 every time I say trailer.
I like that.
Nicest clients I had ever had, sure. But no, I didn't even know there was a hitch on a mobile home. Then I thought, but that was
You're always learning in this industry.
5 years in. It was like, yeah, no, never did this before. So, but you're going to find that, like, you're going to find something that you just don't understand when you see the property.
And sometimes there are really weird extenuating circumstances that come up, like a hurricane blows through town and roofs get ripped off and trees fall on the roof and the house is supposed to burn the next day, or the house is down, and all of those things. Your broker team has dealt with them. And I'm sure there'll be weird ones we haven't dealt with, and we'll figure it out together. But yeah, so please don't be afraid to reach out if you.
Even at Ward's night, you will feel much better when you ask a question at one point and you realize I didn't get the award for the weirdest question.
Yeah, that
So someone else had an even weirder question than I had.
Yeah.
This is fantastic.
Of course, negotiating is another part of negotiating contracts. We're going to get into all the nuts and bolts of negotiating and the different tactics. We have a whole session on negotiating in Ignite. It's great, and there's some great like role playing exercises as well. So that's a good one. I usually teach. I'm teaching that one this time, but anyway, it's a good one. Don't miss that one. And the next one, coordinate the sale to closing. So this is about getting the deal all the way to closing. And, you know, as we've mentioned, sometimes things come up as you're going through the process. So you want to make sure that, you know, you're prepping buyer and seller on both sides for how the process is going to work. And if you can, you know, foresee any sort of problems that might come up. And, you know, it's about
Keeping them
preemptively addressing those things so that you get to a smooth closing.
Mindset in real estate is massive for stuff like this. So if you look like you're panicking, I can tell you your client is going to panic.
Yeah.
If you're looking fed up, your clients are going to be fed up. So change your mindset when you walk in as the helper, the smile. We can get this done. Don't worry about it. Because it does change their total mindset of how it's going to go. Often you can, if someone's kind of really cranky or fed up and stuff like that, look inside and see if maybe that's what you were putting out there. That's what you're getting back.
Yeah.
So mindset is huge. I know some days you're gonna go, I can't do this
Yeah.
today. Let's put a smile on, put the baggage at the door and walk in with a smile on your face.
And sometimes things don't close. Sometimes deals don't come together. That happens too, right? So it's about being prepared for that as well. Not every sale is going to come together. Not every sale is going to close. It's the nature of, you know, dealing with multiple factors and things that can impact, you know, whether a buyer is willing to proceed with a sale, whether a seller is willing to proceed with a sale. So again, if you're, you know, dealing with situations like that and you need an ear or you need to talk to someone, please reach out to the broker team.
Even if you need to change your mindset about a deal. Very good with that.
And then lastly, we talked about this already, but managing the money. So making sure that you're properly managing your commission when it comes in, making sure that you're putting a little bit away for those expenses, etc. Exactly. So the next part is about choosing an accountability partner. And we've talked a lot about this already as well, but just making sure that you have someone that gives you a safe space to share, who's going to help you follow through with things you've said you're going to do, listen and provide, you know, feedback, just a frequency of checking in with each other. Obviously, we want to make sure it's a respectful and collaborative thing, and make sure you create a commitment and stick to it, and then providing that feedback to each other. So really highly recommend that you, if you don't have an accountability partner, that you find one, someone from another person in Ignite. It would be great because it'll also help you get through some of the things in Ignite. There is you know, some homework after each session and making your contacts and things. And it's important if you have that accountability partner, it helps you kind of move through and make yourself kind of go to that next step.
And you're going to be finding a lot of stuff in here. We'll go back to scheduling. Okay. Make sure that accountability is scheduled in your calendar. If it's not in the calendar, it really doesn't exist. Okay. So you can say every Tuesday morning at 9 o'clock, we're going to have a phone call, or every Wednesday at 10, we're going to meet at this Tim Hortons and have a coffee. And you're helping each other. Right? So both of you have to be engaged with it. And honestly, if your partner is not engaged,
And you can create an accountability group too, if you don't want to have a partnership. We've had, some small groups of, 3 and 4, um, which works too, because you feed off each other, and sometimes the group atmosphere is a little bit more motivating.
And don't forget the office is here.
Mhm.
All of our offices are there for you guys to come in meet with your group or, go
Yeah.
have a mastermind. Clean someone, invite like maybe a more experienced agent to come or one of your mentors. Or
Please come to the monthly meeting.
Yeah.
There's a lot of great content there. And after each monthly meeting, we do a panel. So the education committee has been great about putting on different topics. So if there is a specific topic that you're looking for more training on, please let us know, because the education committee is always looking for topics for the panels. But great, because we have agents who succeeding at doing whatever the topic is at a high level, and they're coming to stand in front of the room and help you and give back. And it's very collaborative. They're happy to answer your questions and give tips. And we have it structured so that we have formal questions for the first sort of 45 minutes, and then the sort of last 10-15 are for questions. So it's a really great thing to come in for the meeting and stay for the agent panel. And the lead generation panel was fantastic. So if you missed it, it was recorded. I think Alicia sent it out. It was last meeting. It was, yeah. So really, really great tips from agents on lead gen. And we had some different perspectives. We had one person who was running a team, someone who was on a team that was then individual, and then we had someone else who was had only been an individual agent. So 3 very different perspectives on lead gen, and they were very, very open in sharing. And I don't know if you're chatting with other agents, but there's, sometimes there's conversations about, do I pay for leads? Do I buy leads? And, there's a whole mindset around that as well. And they were very open and honest about their experience with buying leads, and was it successful? Did it work? So if you didn't make it to that one, I highly recommend you go back and watch it. It was really, really very good.
all of the masterminds are extremely
They
good
are,
and they're after each monthly meeting. So it's worth staying around for them, for sure.
So in your book, you're going to see the daily success tracker. You can also obviously use commands. So the idea for the first one is to add 10 contacts to your command database daily. So contacts are people who have agreed to be in a 2-way relationship with you. So you'll start with people in your sphere of influence, and then those and then those who know you. So the idea is that you want to be adding 10 contacts to your command database a day. So everybody knows how to add a contact in command, right?
Does everyone know?
It's clear.
It's okay if you don't.
Not really.
Has Anne reached out?
My way through it, but it's confusing.
Okay.
So I don't have it live here. I could see my, but see so you're in your command, right? See the person where my mouse is. Yeah. So if you click that, you go in, you can add a contact. So right here, this green button, add a contact, and it's going to bring you up to the next. Oops, I clicked it when it wasn't live. It will bring you to the next screen where you add the contact. So then you've got name, phone number, email, address, all of that on that next screen, and then you hit save, and then they'll be in your contacts, and you can this is after the contact's been added, and you can see you could search them typically alphabetically is what most people do, but sometimes it'll sort by recently active or last contacted. It depends on how you want to organize your database. It's completely up to you. Some people prefer last contacted, so then you need to reach out again, or if they're recently active. So if they're using your app or they're on your website, then it'll tell you that they've been active. So sometimes that's a trigger that on there, and they're doing some searching that they might be interested in something real estate wise. So it might be a good idea to kind of reach out to them and then very casual way, right? Just to see what's going on. So that's, yeah, it's, the person right here. I click that and then add contact right here, and easy as that. If you have, another database you're using and you want to bring your contacts in, Elizabeth at SLM can help you import your contacts to Command.
Kelly knows.
Yes, Kelly just went through this, having just come from another brokerage. So
Yeah, just overnight at home, contact all my emails for
yeah,
This is one of the things with KW, reach out, like, do not get frustrated trying to do something. There's someone that can help you, and we can point you in the right direction to who can help you, how they can help, and you can get it done. It's fabulous. It's very cool seeing that last contacted, because in your brain you say, yeah, it wasn't too long ago since, and then you look down, it's like, oh, it's been 4 years.
whoops.
Okay, I
Yeah.
better talk to this person again very soon.
Yeah.
So it's all there to help you and make life easy. Who here has got people working on our app, our consumer app? Okay, guys, how many of your people are working with Viewpoint?
Like using that as a
I'm
like
gonna say
search
this,
platform.
and don't put up your hand because you're gonna get a face from me. Who goes on to Viewpoint sitting in this room? Don't say it. Okay. Okay, so just so you know, KW has the exact same app. Works the exact same way, and solds are on it now. Okay, and you can give this to everybody you know. Go in your phone, if you're sitting in front of Netflix, and text your app invitation to everybody in your contacts.
So your app is in Command. It's in the settings. Your link for you, my app. You want to make sure that your profile is set up in Command. So by your profile, I mean like your picture, your name, your phone number, your email, all of that is set up in Command because that's your marketing profile. Once that's set up, if you go into settings, I have to actually open Command to show you how to get there, but you go into your settings and you'll get your app link, and that's what you can text or email to people. A lot of agents have actually even put it in their email signature at the bottom. Download my app. Nice thing is, with the Keller Williams app, it's branded to you individually. It's not branded to Keller Williams. It says KW, and they open it, and it's all the listings and all are there in their area. At the bottom, it says my agent, and at the bottom, it'll have your picture on yours. Luke's will be on his, Kelly's will be on hers, Susan's will be on hers. Like, it's individualized so that when they click on something or see a property they like, it's going to come to you. You're their agent, your app, it's branded to you. And the nice thing about it is, the app has been fantastic. It's got the map search, so they can go, like, say they're looking in Bedford, put Bedford, and then all the for sales come up on the map with the price, and they can click on it and open it up, right? It's the same sort of idea as with the IDX feed that you have on your websites. Nice thing about it is now, just as of last week officially, we have sold data now in your app. So if you're using the KW app, keep in mind that in order to access the sold data, your consumer has to be signed in. It's a requirement through our boards for the feed. So in order for them to get the sold data, they have to have registered as a consumer on your app. So that simply just means if they're already a client, then they put their name, phone number, email, and are already basically like logged in to your app. Then when they in there in the map search, they can see the for sales, and they can then go hit the sold toggle, and they'll see all the recent solds.
Anytime you're talking to someone, share your app with them. Tell them to share it. Super easy. At the bottom of the app, it says share. Tell them to share with all their friends, their family. It is actually, and I've heard it a few times lately, I've had new agents come in and say, oh, I don't use Viewpoint, I use KW. My agent was with KW. It's like, okay, so it's working extremely well now. But two differences from Viewpoint, okay? One, it's agent centric. Those leads are never, never, never coming to KW. All
Gonna go
Viewpoint is a company. So it goes to the Viewpoint company and they basically sell their leads to their agents. So this way, it's going to work 100% in your favor that everything comes to you. You're not going to lose someone. You will get frustrated. You're going to list a property and maybe the guy you just listed it for all of a sudden ends up with a Viewpoint agent calling him and asking him if he wants to see his own house. Okay, because they went in and pushed something like more information or something like that. That went to the company and then they showed the leads, which means if one of their clients do it, could go to a different agent in the office, which is not agent centric. You really want to be able to embrace your own clients. The other thing is this works anywhere in the world that there is a organized MLS system. So a lot of people, I know I'm getting the faces, well, my grandmother's in Toronto, but why would she want to use my app? Because when she presses that button and wants some information about a property in Toronto, you're getting the lead, which means you then go and find an agent in Toronto and you will get paid a referral for sending that referral to them. This works in many, 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 like we were in Hollywood and honestly,
Yes,
every
when
agent-
Family Reunion was in Anaheim,
Yeah.
we were on our KW app, we're like, how much is that house? Just that house, right? You have realtors curious
And
about
this
all the house,
worked for
right?
me. Like I haven't been selling since I became a team leader, but some people had my app and I didn't really realize they were still using it. And I got a lead saying, I want to see this condo. I had no idea where the condo was. Had to go and talk to Chad and say, there's this condo, or to Laura. I called her and I said, where are you? And she says, I'm in Florida. And I said, okay, well, you want to see a condo? She says, yep, I want to see this condo, but the office is not open today. Number one, the office was open, I wouldn't have got a referral. So it was luck. So you should talk to your people about that. He phoned and said, it's closed. I'd really like to see this condo. So I called the closest KW office. The person that answered the phone, I said, I have a client standing in front of a condo on this address. Is there anyone there that can go down and show it to her? Says, yeah, I'll go do it. And back, she called me 2 hours later and said, I just bought a condo. I got almost $5,000 referral on it. So this app works really well, not only just for your clients, it's working well for them. They'll love it. It also works really well for you, for your lead gen and for your referral network.
One of my clients told me one of their favorite features from it is you're driving by a place and they like
Nearby.
it. Well, as soon as you open it, it automatically pulls up the closest listing.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to like sit there and flip and figure out like which listing is what. It just pulls it right up.
Yeah.
You can look at the details.
Yeah. So what I would suggest every time you're bored, sitting in front of a movie or I'm one of those multitaskers. It really pisses people off, but I do things when I'm watching movies. Either that or I fall asleep. But start going through your contacts and just text them or your app and ask them to share it. About how many contacts you have in your phone. And the next answer is going to be, I don't know everybody in my phone. Who here knows Bill from Viewpoint? He owns Viewpoint, by the way. You're all on it at one point or another, and you haven't got a clue who that man is. So let someone that you don't know be a new client.
Your tips on how to like encourage people to switch. Like I know a lot of people have been using Viewpoint.
Just
for
show
years
it to
and
them.
years.
Yeah, just show it to them.
It's sometimes hard, like texting them, you know, they've been using Viewpoint forever. Why would they?
Tell them to download it and try it. You can put both on your phone.
Yeah, what we found too is often if you come at it from could you try my app? I'd like to get your feedback on it,
Good idea.
right?
Yeah.
And we've got Soul Data too, just like Viewpoint does. You just need to sign up for an account, just like you did on Viewpoint. So I'd really love it if you try it out and give me some feedback on it and how it compares. And often once you get them to try it, then they're like, oh, I kind of like this because the mapping feature is actually better, I think.
Yeah, it
but
is.
the feedback we've been getting.
And that feature is
Right.
really nice.
Awesome. They say the presentation is much nicer.
It's more mobile friendly,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Modern looking. Viewpoint's kind of very old, very
Yeah.
data driven.
Yeah.
Gold data makes it huge to.
It does,
offer.
it does. Yeah, and now that we've got that, it's a big win. So yay to NSAR. Sorry, PEI, if any of you were on for PEI. PEI Real Estate Association stuck in the old days. We can't get sold data from them. But Nova Scotia has finally come up to modern times. with
And even if
giving-
you
getting
know
it
a
out.
client's going on vacation. Oh, don't forget, your app works where you're going. Check out the real estate there. Because I can tell you, people that are using these apps love just browsing in real estate. And
We used it when
We
we
used
were
it.
in LA.
it was hilarious watching. It's like, this is so cool. We know how much these houses are. You can see pictures on the inside. You only could see a gate. It was like, but then we could open it and see exactly what the house looked like, which was very cool.
Another feature that I wish was in Canada, I noticed they have it to States, is the nearby school districts. It's like, of course, like family sponsors children to be in certain schools. But I noticed in the States they're all listed, but as you go in Canada.
Yeah.
But that would be a great feature, I think, keep getting that question. They're like, yeah, we want to be in this school district, so if that true was in Canada, that will be huge, I think.
There is a website with the school board that you can go on and
Yeah.
get the actual area.
Yeah.
And then you can put it into your search as the area. So it's a little backwards, but you can actually get it. Yes, Canada, got to see the States. It's like,
I know.
oh my God, you guys control
they're more,
everything.
well, we're much more regulated. So as far as
Regulated,
like data
compliant.
feeds and things like that,
For the privacy thing, like, let me tell you, other areas are not like that. That's why with the NAR stuff, it's gonna be nice when we have to make some changes because most of them are already made. So for us, our learning curve, I can tell you, people in Toronto, their learning curve is going to be massive.
not here.
No.
Here. Oh, the other thing in your success system, is to write 10 handwritten notes, those in your sphere daily. The reason we say handwritten is because a lot of people don't get mail anymore. So when you get that personalized note, you're more likely to pay attention to it. And again, your sphere is people you already know, have a relationship with, right? So that's another great way to just kind of keep that relationship established and remind them of what you're doing. And some people will, as they kind of get going in the business, will even like attach something of value to the note, right? Like I know one agent used to send out seeds, right?
Yeah,
Or like
forget-me-nots.
Yeah.
'Cause I know we did it one year and I've got forget-me-nots all over my property because
Yeah.
at the end of the year, it was like, well, I may as well get rid of all the rest of them here.
Yeah.
Things like that are really, really good to keep close to mind. I have, and this is the funny, I haven't done it, which makes no sense whatsoever. But we had magnets. We've always had magnets with calendars. But I was given a magnet in Montreal, probably in around 85, 86. And this has got conversions on it. So 1 cup is equal
Oh,
to
the
this
metric.
many mLs. Yeah, and I'm still using it. And I have another agent from Montreal who's probably not even working anymore. And her magnet is still on my fridge. So if you think up things like that, go on to Google something, and I can tell you it'll come up.
Yeah.
Even with like presentations, KW buyer presentation.
Yeah, on KW Connect, when you go into Command and you hit the Connect tab, there's videos and all kinds of resources in there too.
Basically what KW says, see it, like it, feel it, put your face on it. Basically, don't try to reinvent the wheel.
Jason, did you have a question? I saw you had your hand up.
Yes, I used to use the KW app and share it to everybody I knew. The only thing I use both of them, but I use Viewpoint just for the PID on listings that are not listed. Is there another app we can use easier? I mean, Viewpoint works great. You just click on the address and it gives you the PID right away.
Not that I know of, no.
Paragon, obviously, if you put the address.
Yeah, Suzanne's just saying, if you go on the CRS tax data, you can get it that way.
Right,
Yeah, or
it's
go
just
It's on
Viewpoint,
Street
you,
Paragon.
Viewpoint, you don't have to sign up or anything, you just have to click the address and it gives you the PID right away.
That will bring to them
Yeah,
and see what they have to say.
yeah,
Never realized
Okay.
that it doesn't.
no, because most searches, they go by MLS number rather than PID, so that's why you'll see the MLS number. Way.
Right, but this is on listings that are not listed. Like I have multiple listings that I have to send my photographer to, and she wants the PID because she puts the area. She has a drone and she puts the area in some of the pictures, so she takes the PID and it's listed on Viewpoint, even though it's not a listed
Got
property.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's the only issue that I have with the KW one, because you can't even click on anything that's not listed.
Yeah.
That's okay, you're just using it to collect the PID number, whether you do it on a Viewpoint app or something else. As long as you have the information, that's fine. It's really more for your clients.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
You don't want your clients really to have the PID because they're going to get all kinds of information that's going to be old when they buy the house. It's all changing. So you can have some people that go in and check the taxes through the PID, and that comes up on Viewpoint as well. The one thing to stress to your clients when you buy that house, the taxes are completely off. So
yeah,
it's only an estimate, number one, and two, when there's a higher price, it's going to change. Yeah. Some of the stuff you do not want to give your client.
Right. Any ahas? We are at the end of our session for today.
What a aha is anything that you're taking back. That's a KW thing. Like I sat there the first day going, oh, what are they talking about? And you realize, aha, just figured that out. Aha. I think any concerns, questions, anything?
We found out that the weekly newsletter brokerage team, the weirdest questions you have.
They usually come up in the hour with the broker training session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they usually get asked there too, so you'll get to hear some of them. Actually, it's a great learning opportunity because you may not have encountered the situation, and we've had that where, but someone else in the room is actively dealing with it, or, kind of getting into that situation. So they'll ask us the question, and then we'll hear from another agent like a month or two later, like, I was so glad I was in the session because such and such happened to me too. Anyway.
There's Bisbee.
That's sweet. Sweet, okay.
It's this way, don't quote me, I haven't met, like I already.
Thursday, I can't remember, is this Thursday or next Thursday? Your calendar there.
I must have to try. Sure, I did my calendar.
Yeah. Hour with a broker at 11 o'clock on Thursday.
This week.
Yep.
That was at 11.
11, sorry.
11.
I just said it and I figured she knows. He just heard me say it. So he can't be saying it wrong.
Tell me the wrong.
Still check if I said something. How's that? So one of the things that we were just laughing at is there's two things that are weird things that happen in real estate, and it's going to happen to you first. Peace. You're going to learn to hate peace, and you will be on. Just watch.
You lost it under a deck, didn't you? Just yeah.
Okay. So at one point, you will drop a key. And it will go through that tiny little slot in.
And then you got to
the deck.
crawl under the deck to
Okay.
get it.
And it'll never be those tall decks that have to go under. An idea.
Yeah.
Someone brought it up the last time I said this. A stick with a magnet on the end of it.
Yes, you'll also start to carry, lock de-icer in your
Yep.
car, because you get a locked, frozen.
You will always knock on a bedroom door when you're showing a house if
Yeah.
it's shut. Don't just
Yes.
open it up.
Yes,
So come to the broker thing. They tell all.
really should write a book. We
They're
keep
great.
saying that, but we haven't done it.
And it's going to be the crudest, sweetest older couple that walks right in on someone. Yeah. So,
Maybe a self.
yeah, not for this couple.
Depending on the owner.
So it's always good to pair.
Yes, and take note of the showing instructions on Paragon, because often there'll be little notes, but sometimes they don't relate on showing time when your appointment gets confirmed, but they'll have the note, the instruction to members, the
Yeah.
showing instructions, like don't let the cat out. Important one. It's not fun to chase an indoor cat around a yard to try to capture it and just back in the
No.
house. I speak from
In between
experience.
now and the next 5 years, you will chase cats down streets.
Yes,
Because it will be the cat that's not supposed to be let out.
and they're sneaky. Sneak right out.
And don't think that it's only dogs that guard houses. Like, we always get the dogs out of houses, right? Because we
For
know they get very, very
Territorial.
territorial and social cats, just so you know.
Yeah.
And they'll say, no, my cat would never do that. I had to videotape one of my clients' cats trying to walk me through a banister walking up the
Oh,
stairs.
yeah, I had one trap me in a basement.
Me too. I had to call Chad to come and get me, open the door to get this cat because I couldn't go back up the stairs.
It was on its hind legs, hissing and spitting at me, wouldn't let me up the stairs.
Look at the cat people are saying, no,
Yeah.
you're not a So, and for some reason, cats know the ones that are afraid of them, and they're going to come right to you as soon as you come in. Other cats, you never know there's a cat in the house because they,
Yeah.
but we do get our dogs out. Go ahead.
One question about the recording of these, I've blown this 1 or 2. How quickly are they gonna be uploaded for viewing? So that we're ready for the
It's usually,
Yeah, at least it's usually pretty quick to have them uploaded.
It's usually a day or two.
Yeah, within 24 hours.
and make sure your phone is charged because your lockbox does not open when you get there if your phone's dead. So you'll be sitting in the car going,
Yeah.
Well, tips, aren't you?
oh, you have
Yes.
no idea. When you've been doing it as long as, we haven't been doing it as long, but you've been doing it a long time, you see everything.
Yep, everything.
So it's good to know, like, you'll laugh about the key going through that tiny little slot. If you
Yeah.
tried to get a key to go through that slot, it would never
Never.
happen. But I don't know an agent that's been in the business more than 10 years that it hasn't happened to. So it sounds odd, but you will laugh your head off as soon as you do it, because you will do it.
So it's one of those tags.
Right?
Tags don't always fit in the box. It's another thing. Careful when you have a listing
Yeah.
that you don't put a big tag because they'll have it and you'll
And
be
it gets
pushing it
jammed in
and
the
it doesn't
box.
come out because there's a tag on it. Yes, I know. I know.
True.
So have a great week, guys.
Yes, have a great week. Enjoy your next session of Ignite.
And
We
don't
will
forget
see
your
you-
homework.
We will see you on some later sessions.
Yep.
It's Chad, I think, on Wednesday.
Yeah, Chad's next and he already has a thing. Look at your vision board and bring it in too. With your goals.
Chad wants to see him, right?
He's gonna ask for it. Cause I'm gonna tell him. Have a great week, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
Hey, Laura Lee,
Yeah.
I just have a quick question about accessing the recording. Do you guys send out an email link if we want to review the recording?
Yeah, so Alicia will send it out. So
Okay,
for the-
excellent. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
It's the other thing, open your emails.